Hey, what's up my friends? My name is Bill. Welcome to Cars That Last. On today's video, how long do Mitsubishi cars last? Now, if you're new to my YouTube channel, I study the car marketplace. My videos are about cars that are known to be reliable, affordable, and can last a long time. I did a recent video on the top 10 least satisfying cars, and there were 2 Mitsubishi cars on that list. And that prompted me to create this video. Are you in the market for a used car? Perhaps you're looking at a Mitsubishi model, or maybe you're thinking you're going to buy a brand new Mitsubishi. New Mitsubishi models are few and far between now, but every once in a while I see somebody driving a brand new Mitsubishi Outlander, for example. And it prompted me to ask the question, how long do Mitsubishis last? So in this video, I've got a ton of great data based on mileage studies on how long Mitsubishi cars last. I hope you find this information helpful. In addition, if you're in the market for a cheap, reliable car, I wrote a book called Should You Buy a Cheap Car? It's a book about cars that are less than $2,000 for sale. It's free and it's available on the download. Now this video is intended to be completely unbiased. I don't own a Mitsubishi, and I'm certainly not trying to dog on any Mitsubishi car, but I want to make sure my viewers are well informed about the various cars out there. If you already own a Mitsubishi car, you might find that this information will be helpful in determining how long a Mitsubishi car might last. As you can see, I'm here in Minnesota. It's a bright, cold, sunny day. Now in this study, there were over 1,800 Mitsubishi vehicles. Years range from 1993 to 2017. All vehicles for sale were less than $6,000 in price. Only 4 of these vehicles made it above 300,000 miles. 10 were between 250 and 300,000 miles. And one of my favorite statistics is the percentage of vehicles above 200,000 miles. For all Mitsubishi cars, that came in at 6.16%. Now, to give you a rough comparison, if we were going to compare that number to, say, a Toyota Camry or a Honda Accord, those would be roughly in the 15th to 20th percentile. Okay, let's count them down. Car number 8 is the Mitsubishi Eclipse. Years in the study range from 1993 to 2012. The highest was a 2007 model with 287,000 miles, and that featured the 3.8-liter V6. 2.9% of Eclipses lasted more than 200,000 miles. Car number 7 is the Mitsubishi Lancer. Years in the study were from 2002 to 2015. The highest Lancer was a 2003 model with 293,000 miles. That features a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. And 3.8% of vehicles lasted more than 200,000 miles. Also for the Lancer, in 2004 to 2007, that features the Takata airbags. When those airbags go off, they can send shrapnel into the passengers. Make sure to go to the dealer and get that replaced free of charge. The Lancer, unfortunately, has huge depreciation issues. You could have bought one of these cars over $20,000 in 2015. 5 years later, if you put some miles on it, it may not even be worth $6,000. Resale value is very poor on these vehicles. Car number 6 is the Mitsubishi Outlander. Years in the study range from 2002 to 2015. One Outlander made it 300,000 miles. That was a 2005 model with 302,000 miles. That featured the 2.4-liter 4-cylinder. And 4.26% above 200,000 miles. Unfortunately for the Outlander as well, you could have bought one of these in 2015, put some miles on it. You could have bought it for $30,000 plus, and it may only be worth less than $6,000. The Outlander suffers from huge depreciation. Every once in a while, I see somebody driving a brand new Outlander, and I just kind of cringe. Number 5 is the Mitsubishi Diamante. Years in the study were from 1998 to 2004. The Diamante was built to compete with other luxury brands. Note that there were only 18 cars in the study for the Diamante. It's a low production vehicle. 5.56% were above 200,000 miles. The highest had 234,000 miles. That was a 2003 model with a 3.5-liter V6. Number 4 is the Mitsubishi Galant. Years in the study range from 1997 to 2012. The highest was a 2008 model with 319,000 miles. That featured the 2.4-liter 4-cylinder, and 7.28% of vehicles had above 200,000 miles. Number 3 is the Mitsubishi Endeavor. Years range from 2004 to 2011. The highest was a 2008 model with 350,000 miles. That was the highest vehicle in the study. That had a 3.8-liter V6. 11.8% of Endeavors had more than 200,000 miles. Car number 2 is the Mitsubishi Raider. Years in the study were from 2006 to 2009. The Raider was built by Chrysler. It's essentially a rebranded Dodge Dakota. The highest vehicle had 329,000 miles. That was a 2007 model with a 3.7 liter V6. 14.3% of Raiders had more than 200,000 miles. The Raider is also impacted by the Takata airbag recall from 2006 to 2009. You'll notice that the Raider is the number 2 vehicle. What I typically see in my studies, trucks, and especially trucks with larger engines, V6s and certainly V8s, have been known to be more reliable and last a lot longer than, say, a 4-cylinder car. And that rings fairly true for these Mitsubishi models. And car number 1 is the Mitsubishi Montero. Years in the study were from 1993 to 2003. 19.5% of Monteros had more than 200,000 miles. However, the highest mileage Montero only hit 253,000 miles. That featured the 3.5 liter V6 and was a 1997 model. The Montero was plagued in its earlier days with a known issue of rolling over. If you've seen any of my videos on the Toyota 4Runner, if you're looking for a reliable, rugged 4x4 SUV, I might also suggest looking at an old Toyota 4Runner. So should you buy an old Mitsubishi? Production for a lot of Mitsubishi vehicles are very low. It may be harder to get your car serviced. It may also be harder to find parts, especially for used vehicles. In comparison to some other reliable brands, to me it seems that a lot of these Mitsubishis just don't last nearly as long as other vehicles. Even when we do a side-by-side comparison in a particular vehicle category like SUVs, the Mitsubishi brand is rarely at the top of the list. And if you look up any reviews of a lot of these vehicles, you'll also find that they lack certain features and are not as satisfying to drive. Again, this is an unbiased opinion. Now, Mitsubishis are built in Japan. A lot of people think just because they're buying a Japanese vehicle that it should last a lot longer than any other vehicle. I don't find that necessarily to be true, especially in a lot of my other studies about high mileage cars. However, I know there's a Mitsubishi owner out there right now that has some high mileage. Feel free to put some comments below. Do you have a high mileage Mitsubishi? Or have you had any experiences with Mitsubishi cars that you'd like to share? I'd love to hear your comments. That's going to wrap it up for this video. Don't forget, below is my free book, Should You Buy a Cheap Car? Also consider subscribing. Reminder to hit the bell if you want to be alerted for new videos. As always, thanks so much for watching. Namaste.